The thing about events is that you can't fake it. You could probably fake it for, I don't know, 20 seconds if you are, a happy, positive energy giving person, or someone that provides value would be a really simple way of putting it. You can't hide that. People are really good at sussing out if someone is full of bullshit by looking them straight in the eye. And that is the great thing about events. Now, the con of that is you really need to have something about you of value.
Welcome to the One Social Life podcast. I'm Julian, and today I have a very special guest from the UK, from London. He has big experience in the event industry, over 10 years, expertise in event tech. He's very passionate about networking, business-wise, and on a personal level, building face-to-face relationship. And he's also a frequent traveler, and he knows how networking impact his professional and personal connections. I'm very happy that he is here today. Connor, welcome. Maybe you can also introduce you a little bit at the beginning before we jump into some very exciting topics.
Fair enough. I mean, what an intro. Appreciate it, mate. So, yeah, my name is Connor Vickery. So in my professional life, I've been in corporate events for 10 years, doing everything from small personal events all the way up to 50,000 person confexes, exhibitions. And then in my private life, I've taken that skill set, and Julian has been along for the ride for quite a lot of it. In my personal life, I run and create fashion content around London. I run TFP photo shoots for the fashion industry, and I'm very passionate about high-level networking in London, and then because of my job, I travel an awful lot. So Julian and me have a lot of lessons in terms of networking and events.
Yeah. And also we met on several occasions in different cities. We met in London, we met in the US. So there, we have like a cool journey together. Always stayed in touch. And that's also a big component of networking, being in touch with your contacts, not just meeting people once, but then also exchange different concepts, exchange ideas, working together on different projects. I think that's very important, and that gives a big component of how social networking should be professionally and also privately.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure how many of the stories we can tell on this, but happy to stay PG and talk about how to build networks, especially through events. So I think your audience would have really appreciated some of that.
Yeah, definitely. Just to give a quick overview. So we are talking about networking at events, networking itself, organizing events. You have a lot of experience now in the fashion industry, also for your private, let's say, social network to grow. We also have the personal branding aspect to it, how to actually, if you have a good personal branding, which then can also help you for networking reason. And a little bit, if we talk also another aspect, a little bit more on when you travel, how to meet people. I also have a dating component, what I teach to my students. We can also talk a little bit about that. I know that you have also a lot of insights from your area. I mean, you are British guy. You have a charm, British charm. You can just show up somewhere, and then everybody lays down for you, I guess.
No comment on that. I'm in a relationship. I'm good at the moment. I'm very, very well behaved at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I appreciate it. And that's cool. But we have always fun conversations. Let's start off about your journey a little bit, about having what do you think about the power events can have, especially, let's say, for the event industry you are in professionally?
Yeah, I mean, most people fall into events, and I'm going to be honest, I completely fell into it by accident. I originally wanted to be an actor, and I was a child actor. I was actually on the West End performing in Andrew Lloyd Webber's The Sound of Music when I was 12. I really wanted to be an actor. Turns out being an actor is very hard and you don't earn a lot of money. So I kind of went, okay, what's the way you can earn an absolute shit ton of money in a sort of adjacent field? It's going into the corporate side events. So I went into corporate sales for big sponsorship deals, and I have no idea how, but I managed to fall into working at some of the best companies with some of the most talented people on corporate events. And corporate events is a whole world of its own, which I ended up really mastering. And now I'm on more the technology software side of running those events. But my journey is that I thought, okay, in my personal life, I just wasn't really getting the results I wanted. I wasn't speaking to the guys and having the friends that I had at the time. I wasn't getting into the premier venues in London. Everything's very cliquey. One of my New Year's resolutions in the early days was I never want to go to Simmons again. Anyone in London knows the bar
Hot Simon.
Simmons is an absolute dive. So my New Year's resolution was I'm never going to another Simmons again. And that was the year I ended up getting into Mayfair clubs. I ended up organizing tables. I ended up getting into fashion in London. I ended up really elevating my social life. And that was from the lessons I'd learned in events.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where I am now. And I'm sort of building this personal brand around events.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're saying you are on, let's say, corporate sales background, similar like me, just in different industries, so you know how to face-to-face network and how this actually transformed your career. Can you go a little bit into that? How you conduct things in your corporate face-to-face networking?
Yeah, and it's so funny because you're asking about my corporate experience, but there's a massive transition into your personal life, which I'm sure you teach your clients as well. So on the corporate side of things, it's two things. One is a mindset. I always have a saying, never take the first no. And if you're in corporate sales, I'm sure you have the same mindset. Sales teaches you to have a thick skin and not take rejection personally, which, by the way, is really good if you're trying to meet, a certain opposite sex, let's just say. Obviously doing it in a respectful manner, but having that thick skin means that you're not needy in terms of sales. That's the most important thing. People can smell it if you're needy in corporate sales. So one's the mindset thing. The second thing is more of an actual physical presentation. If you're in corporate sales, I'm in events, you attended lots of B2B exhibitions,
Yeah.
you need to turn up well-groomed, not smelling like you slept on the streets the night before. You need to smile. You need to stand up straight. You need to have really good physicality. You need to shake the person's hand, look them straight in the eye, build rapport, get them on your side, and then close for an action as soon as possible. So those are the 2 points of the corporate sales job, which really helps in your personal life as well.
Yeah, exactly. So you learn because you need to be disciplined in the corporate world. And if you can transfer this into private life and actually think, okay, I'm doing this on a daily basis. I'm having a conversation with different people. I'm going on events. I'm going on exhibitions. I need to be social. I need to get to know people. Eventually I want to close deals. And I think what many people struggling, they really master being very successful in their job, but they cannot transfer their job skills or even their social skills they learn in the job into the private life. Did you have like a similar experience? If so, how could you do, or how have you done the transition from actually becoming like also privately a very social person?
Never had a problem being social. And I think a lot of salespeople, you are just a naturally extroverted, sociable person. That's never been my problem. The problem is I often have not applied myself with the right rigor and with the right organization that I needed to. If you just see sales as something, you sort of fall into, a lot of people, they haphazardly go about their sales process. They don't know exactly how many cold calls they need to make. They don't really keep track of the accounts. They don't really update any CRM system. They just sort of go about their day-to-day business. That's probably what I was, let's be honest, at the start. But in order to really excel in anything in life, but sales is a really good example. You need to have metrics. What is your conversion rate from prospecting into closing? What is your upselling, conversion rate? When you go on site and you're trying to rebook someone for the next year, you need to know what's your target. You need to know about your cash flow. And then as you get to more senior level, you need to start thinking about logistics. You need to think about your tech stack. You need to think about managing people. So my social life has been very similar. It's always been fine because I can walk into a bar and have a great time. But the problem
Yeah.
was I wasn't systematizing it. And you and me, we probably have that same sort of characteristic. Whereas now over the last, 5 years, I've really systematized what is my event schedule looking like throughout the year. I've now got a CRM system of people that I have met either at events or people that I want to invite to events. I'm much more organized about my outreach. I keep track of RSVPs. So my lesson was not in getting social, but you can be really social and not get the results you want. In order to do that, you need to systematize. That was my main lesson.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like having a system and actually also understanding your goal, what's your outcome of it? I think that really helps. Like we do it a lot in a professional way always, but we don't do it in a private way. And then we want, okay, I don't have the friends I desire. I don't have maybe I'm not meeting the girls like that I like, or I'm not going to the places that I like. So basically, if you also can have a system for what you want to achieve in your private life, I think that will help a lot. Especially if you're aware of what you want, because of course people they want different things, but some people they are just not aware of it. They want, okay, I want to meet new people. Oh no, I want to meet, I don't know, I want to meet girls, but I'm doing these events, but I don't really know. Okay, what should I do at the events, right? How do I connect with people on the events? Oh, I'm doing it, but then I'm standing in a corner and I talk to nobody, which probably also won't help you down the line. So it's really important to have a goal in mind and then actually understand how to achieve this goal. Of course, there are a lot of natural people, they're doing it naturally and they have less problem, but the most people nowadays, especially people like digital nomads or people that are traveling, on which I'm focusing a lot at the moment, they're going at some place, but they feel kind of lost or they don't even know how to start, how to go out or how to research like simple things like, okay, I am going to different events. It's not that you need to organize your own events from the start, but just like simple things that can be done in order to become more social, in order to go out, in order to push yourself. But then you need to have in mind, okay, I have a system and then a goal, what I really want to achieve. And I think that's what a lot of people struggling today, especially when you don't have an established social circle in your city. If you are going to a new city and you start completely from scratch or just with not a lot contact. Yeah. And adding to this, so in your mind, why are then events so powerful for building relationship, both professionally and socially?
That's a really good question. A lot of people, they are saturated when it comes to being bombarded by adverts, whether that be in the professional or social realm. In the professional realm, we get cold calls that are badly done all the time. We get emails that are completely irrelevant to us. I know a lot of girls in their social life, they end up being approached by men that they're really not interested in. Or men, you end up wasting time in a dive bar that, really no one is there that you really want to meet. That's part of my I'm never going to Simmons again New Year's resolution in the early 20s. So I think, yeah, that is the main thing in order to correct your way forward. You need to understand, like you said before, what your goal is and how you can move towards that. And the thing about events is that you can't fake it. You could probably fake it for, I don't know, 20 seconds if you are, a happy, positive energy giving person or someone that provides value would be a really simple way of putting it. You can't hide that. People are really good at sussing out if someone is full of bullshit by looking them straight in the eye. And that is the great thing about events. Now, the con of that is you really need to have something about you of value. Like you said, you might be organizing a great event, but if you as a person are not interesting or you are not engaging, then no one's going to speak to you. So you have to have something of value. But the great thing about events, professionally and privately, is that you're able to show that value really congruently. You can't hide it. So that's the thing I love about events. So when I'm organizing fashion events or when I'm organizing VIP tables in London, people, they might not know me. They might be introduced to me through someone else, or they might meet me at that event, professionally or working with me. But I guarantee you after that event, they're happy to respond to me and they're a friend. That's the great thing about an event.
Yeah, yeah. And you have like your focus, like you're doing a lot of London, but you have also, let's say, experience outside London in different parts of the world, because you have been on different events, different exhibitions. Can you also talk about this a little bit, like your experience, let's say, going outside of London, traveling to different places, and then also doing a similar thing you're doing at home somewhere else? So how were your strategies there?
Yeah, so London is my fortress. London is my, go-to area. I know London like the back of my hand. I can go get into guest list or tables. Or I know the managers in most of the VIP clubs. I know a lot of the main people within the fashion industry. Going. Let's say, great example, a city like Vegas, which we
Yeah,
go to. I do loads of events in Vegas. How do you land in Vegas and make sure that you have a better night than 99% of people? One of the great lessons taught to me by a mutual friend of ours called Ashcam is you need to identify who are the fickle 500. So who are the decision makers in whatever scene you want to get into? So I know the fickle 500, who are the power players in the fashion industry, but I also know the fickle 500 and the power players in the London nightlife industry. So that's the doorman of Sexy Fish. That is the manager of B Club London. I know the promoters that can get me guest list in Cirque du Soir or Taboo or something like that in London. So when you land in a city like Vegas, you need to understand, okay, who are the people that I can quickly reach out to, make friends with of that power play within that city. So a great example is, as quickly as possible, go to XS and try to make friends with the doorman. Try to make friends with the people that are the security, the promoters, the hosts at the best nightclub arguably in the world, XS. But then also try and identify the promoters, try and identify maybe the managers of the club itself. And then when you're in the club, try and network with someone who may have bought a table or someone, just providing value. If you do that consistently for a couple of days within Vegas, you should really be able to get on a table by the end of the weekend. And that is a way either by using social media or by doing it in person, as I said before, which is something that not a lot of people can do. That is the way to network. So you have to have a goal in mind. Okay, I want to be on a table partying with some really cool guys and gals on Saturday night in excess. Or go out Thursday, Friday, network with the security staff, network with the promoters, network with the hosts, talk to people who have tables, say hi. That's how I would do it if you drop me in a city.
Yeah. That's very, very, very good advice. And like you mentioned, you need a lot of courage. You need to kind of say, okay, I'm really doing this. So taking action, so massive taking action is a very, very important thing, especially if you are completely new, you are just coming there. So you need to have the awareness to actually go out there, put yourself out there and just try. It's not really like complicated, especially networking with professionals or staff, because they need to be friendly. They won't, they don't give you like a hard time. They are just friendly because they need to be friendly, right? It's different than you running around a club and you want to approach different girls who probably can reject you all the time. But you can build your network by building up these proof with getting to know the staff, the local people, the promoters, everything you have mentioned in order then to have, after you are there only for probably not even a week, you already have more opportunities who's somebody who's just going in there, gets a drink, stands in the corner, and yeah, doesn't really do nothing. And then he's going home in his hotel and is feeling lonely. But then you already have these local contacts, which then will give you also a better feeling and more confidence then to actually be more active, be more socially active while you are new to the city.
Another thing, I think you've already said a really good point, which is most guys, what are they going to do? They land in Vegas on Monday. They go out with their buddies to a bar. They all get drunk. They drunkenly try and terribly hit on women who really are not happy with their advances. They go back on Sunday. They haven't really met anyone properly outside their social circle. They've just busted each other's balls for 7 days. That's what most guys are going to do.
Yeah,
Don't do
yeah,
that. Why are you doing that? And another way, apart from doing it in person, and this ties in with what you're doing, Julian, with your school channel and your community, is that you can join like-minded communities. I mean, me and Julian met through one of these communities.
yeah,
Or you can meet someone who has a community within the city you want to visit. Identify that person, reach out, offer value. You know, if someone came to me and they said, look, I'm just arriving into London, but I'm a photographer. It'd be great if I could offer my services to you for free. I'd be like, great. Someone that is not trying to take something from me
yeah, yeah.
immediately. Even if they try offering value, that's all that needs to be done. So that's the final way I'd say is joining networking groups in that sense.
Yeah, yeah. Networking group is definitely a very, very great advice because you can already do a lot of features up front. Before you even get there, you can join these groups. Even like if there are still like a lot of Facebook groups, there is school communities. There are just different online possibilities you can do already before you even get there, and you already can start to network online, virtually, before you even step a foot in the city. I think that's a beautiful thing nowadays. And then also if your let's say your social media is what let's say kind on point that people actually want to network with you, they look at your social media and it's presentable and they will know, okay, like there's a cool guy coming in town. I probably just want to hang out with him because he's an interesting person on social media. And I think that's also what a lot of, let's say, travelers, digital nomads, but also people in general neglect, like the power of first of research and then having the social media on point in order to make this connection up front, to not be completely a stranger when getting to a new city. What do you think about in terms of, let's say, going this research up front and then having a cool social media, doing personal branding and so on?
You know, it's so funny. I used to really be cynical about that. I used to think, really, social media is so shallow. Why do I need to focus on social media? I've completely done a 180 on that. It's incredibly important to use social media, especially currently Instagram. It might be completely different in 3, 4, 5, who knows? You know, the AI gods might invent some sort of all-encompassing social media, which we just
Who
plug
knows?
into our brain and which is called Meta. But until then, it's
Yeah, that's
Instagram. So, really good example. I was in a VIP Mayfair club a couple of weekends ago, and I met a model on a table. And this was, you know, someone that I'm just networking because I, you know, speak to a lot of models when I'm organizing TFP, which means development fashion shoots for photographers and models. And I said to her, "Hey, it'd be really great if we could exchange Instagram, and I'll send you more details." This woman clearly is very, you know, she needs to make sure that I'm legit. She's very discerning about the person that she gives out her Instagram to. So I said, you know, give me your phone and you can follow me. And she said, no. What's your Instagram? I typed in my Instagram on her phone and then I gave it back to her. She stood there for a good 45 seconds looking through all of the photos and the reels. And, you know, if you look at my Instagram, it's me organizing fashion events. I do interviews with models around London. And you could see the cogs turning. She was going, okay, out of 10, this is good. That's not so good. Okay. And then she made the decision. Okay, fine. Gave me the phone back. I messaged myself through her phone. If my Instagram had not been on point, she would have been like, no, thank you. And there is a threshold you have to be at. You don't need to have I do not have hundreds of thousands of followers, but she can tell I'm in the right world. I get it. I've made an effort. I'm not going to be weird. If I had pictures of me with my guy friends drinking beer in Las Vegas, smoking a cigar outside the Bellagio, she'd be like, no, thank you. And I guarantee you there are people watching this that have pictures of themselves on a boat with fish or something ridiculous. Fix your Instagram, which is another tenet that I think many people are following nowadays. So it's incredibly important. Your Instagram is kind of like your business card nowadays. Yeah. So figure out what world are you trying to be in. I'm in the fashion world, but maybe that's not your world. Maybe Julian is in the digital nomad, completely different world.
Yeah.
I've got another friend who's in the motorbike world. Figure out what your world is and build your social media presence in order to cater to that archetype.
Yeah, exactly. I think there are some very relevant points you taught regarding social media, especially like the business card you're mentioning, which is nowadays business and personal is going more and more together. So you kind of need to, it's still like showing yourself, but showing yourself the right way. I think that's very important. And this is actually also how you stay connected with people across different cities. I mean, we're talking not only about London, we talked about Vegas, we are talking about, in general, people going to different spots, traveling around today. Everything is global. So how you actually will then connected or stay connected with the different people you meet in different cities. Also, London is like a huge hub. A lot of people are traveling to London. They are not even living here. They come to these fashion events. There are maybe international models, international people. They are there in London this week, then next week Milano, then Paris, then overseas somewhere. And then it's really important to have like this Instagram in order to stay connected with people. The people can see your content, they can follow you, you are active on Instagram, know what you are up to. And also there also a big thing, what many people forget is you just by posting content, by, for example, stories, reels, and so on, you stay connected because people watch your stuff. So you don't need to message every person you connect with individually to stay in touch. And social media does this for you if done right. So people see what you are up to. I think that's very important.
Yeah, I think level one is getting it so that if someone looks on your profile, they don't think that's disgusting. I'm not going to connect with you. That's level one. That's baseline.
I like the fish posts of guys. I don't remember. I talk to a lot of girls on these events and I meet every girl says if they see like a fish picture of guys, it's like immediately red flag and turn off. So guys, don't post the fish pictures if you want to connect with girls. Yeah, I mean, that's 90% of girls. You can that's a
nowadays, if you got a photo with yourself with a fish on dating profiles or Instagram, you're a lost cause. Like we can't, Julian can't help you. But I was going to say, level two is then being able to leverage that to people you've never met. So another good example is we've got London Fashion Week happening in 2 weeks. So this is being filmed in February 2025. I am able to reach out to models that I already I'm aware are coming to London Fashion Week, or that I'm assuming because they're assigned with a Swedish label, for example, that would be flying into London Fashion Week. So I can reach out and say, hey, by the way, I'm organizing a shoot. Feel free to come along. Another thing is you don't just leverage on the outbound, you leverage on the inbound. So I've been invited to a private event for London Fashion Week in 2 weeks because I have been working on my craft in terms of creating really good content, networking properly, going to events. So base level one is just getting it. The second level is what you and I are at, which is leveraging the outbound and the inbound. And the great thing is, tying it back to events, you can then leverage your, channel or, your social media presence in order to organize networking events. For example, Julian, if you fly to Colombia, Medellin, then you can organize a networking event in that city. So that's that's what you can do. But in order to get there, you need to put a little bit of work in on the front end.
Yeah, yeah. And exactly. And you need to actually know how to do it correctly, the step by steps, because there are a lot of, let's say, pitfalls that can happen on the way. Of course, it's something else if you just organize something loose with friends, or if you really want to network on a little bit bigger scale, or if you invite, for example, people cold, which don't know you already, which are not warm. Of course, maybe you have warm contacts or people you met somewhere, and that's like one side. On the other side, if you want to connect in a new city, many contacts will be kind of cold. So you kind of need to understand how to manage that, and then get the people together, connect together, become a social person that actually can be active in these scenarios and get the best out of yourself, and also provide value to others, which then will lead to more connections, because then people will talk about it. You will have a lot of content, maybe of your event you can post, and then use this content for your next event. Then it gets this big snowball effect. And that's the same also in from professional to private to a fashion or whatever branch it is. The concepts are pretty similar, I would say. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not at the stage you're at. I don't leverage my Instagram. I suppose that the final level is then actually generating sort of a lead funnel through your Instagram profile, which I know is what you're doing. So I'm not trying to get paying clients through my Instagram. It's more to network and meet more models, more photographers, and then organize non-paying events. So I'm not trying to get people to buy tickets or become my clients. So I've got a slightly different strategy to what you have. But I mean, we wouldn't be doing this podcast if we didn't agree with the fact that, you need to be really good in person. Obviously, there are fundamentals around that, but you can take advantage of being a really good person by also having a great social media presence. So yeah, that's the lesson I've definitely learned. And honestly, Julian, yeah, you
Yeah.
were sort of kicking my butt the last 6 months. I feel like I'm kind of
Yeah.
catching up, getting there. So yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah, I mean that's what my job is. Not only professionally but also privately with people I know. If I see potential, and I think we discussed it also a lot when we met in Vegas. Yeah, we met in, was it October? Yeah, October. So yeah, we actually met in October in Vegas. So we had a great time, and yeah, we were actually discussing some of these concepts and exchanging ideas. And in general, when I'm talking to people, I always have in mind, in general, just to provide value to different people, which is also a networking strategy. If you don't come from the point, okay, I'm just want to take value, I just provide, I just give, I just share my experience, I share what I learned. You provide value, and that's also like a very good thing to connect with people, because people yeah, everybody wants value, and if somebody is there and just doesn't expect nothing in return, I think that's very powerful in order to make these connections, business wise, and also on a personal level. And yeah, I think we had a lot of fun there, but
Yeah, I
also
don't know how much of that we can talk about on here, but maybe a
yeah,
different podcast.
yeah, we can unless we need to cut out big parts of the but still, I would come also a little bit come when for a travel lifestyle. A lot of people that are watching me, they see me traveling around. I'm getting to know a lot of girls, or even if I'm going on events or if I'm going there, I've always different people with me. So I know you you're in a relationship right now. So maybe you can talk a little bit about how was your travel lifestyle before that, regarding dating experiences. Maybe you can include how you get to your relationship,
Yeah, I
whatever.
mean,
Comfortable.
yeah, I mean, we can probably go into it. I mean, when we met in Vegas, we I don't know if you're happy to say the course, Julian, but we were involved in one of these sort of self-development courses, And, for many years, I've been down that road of what a lot of guys are probably, a lot of the content that people are engaging with, whether that be Owen Cook, Jeffy, the RSD stuff, Michael Sartain, nowadays with all the social circle stuff. I've been on that road. That's probably a different podcast on how long that road has been. But I do find that there is a whole niche of people who travel an awful lot, who are either digital nomads or they're very high performing corporate people that they are so intense that their idea of a good time is, for example, me and this guy. I won't say his real name, but he's a German guy, so let's call him Paul. So me and this
That's
Paul,
a typical German name, but okay.
yeah, more British, isn't it? So, okay, me and Paul have known each other for a long time. And, I was in a relationship at the time, but Paul is an acquisition lawyer who travels all the time. If you look on his Instagram right now, he's in Thailand doing Thai boxing. So his idea of a good time is, Connor, can you take a month off work? Let's go hire a boat in Havar and throw parties on the boat for a month, which is what we did. But those sort of people, they're probably very high performing corporate people. They're incredibly stressed, or they're digital nomads who are also really hardworking people. So what do those people need to learn in order to improve their experiences in life? One thing is systematize your process of events, having a good time. Do not just land in Medellin and just go to the first bar you see. No. Prepare. What are the cool venues? Who are the people that run those venues? What's the strategy of going there and trying to network with those people? Okay, you've been there for a couple of weeks. Okay, let's invite people to a container event. Okay, let's source the correct venues. Let's build a CRM system. Let's reach out to everyone. Let's organize, my first own container event. That's something you teach, Julian, much better than I could teach. But that's the one thing I'd say. Paul and me, we had all the invites set. We had the yacht already chartered by the time he'd already organized the best place to stay in Havar, which was on the side of the dock. This guy's a lawyer. He's not mucking about. Okay, he's very organized. So if anyone is not getting the results they want, that's the one thing you need: organization.
Yeah. And I definitely agree 100% because I saw it there. If I look my journey, I'm here for 2 months now. And when I started, I did research. I mean, I've been here before, so I a little bit knew the city. But I also reached out to 2 guys who are already living here in order to get insights. But then I just went out, going to different places, going to coffees, co-working spots, getting the right gym, also my apartment, making sure that I have a good logistical situation in my apartment, so I can literally walk to the gym, I can walk to my favorite coffee shop, I can walk to a bar, I can maybe walk to a nightclub. So like having all this into mind and then building up the connection, building up mere exposure for people who don't know what it is, like going to a place over and over and then just connect with people by you just being there and people recognizing you. That's very powerful. And I did all this in the beginning. And then, of course, I'm a social guy. I'm talking to people when I'm out. And I went to different events. I approached a lot of people, being socially, getting contact. And now I'm in this point at the moment that actually coming Sunday, I will organize my first event here. First local, mostly I would say 80% local people. Girls, sorry. It's a yoga event. One part is like yoga, and then we have like after yoga we have a session like a social networking, come together in a coffee shop, which is part of the yoga studio. And that will be like my first like own event. But I have been on different events during these 2 months in order to generate the contacts, in order to then have actually also a warm list I can invite people to, and of course also research for cold people I want to invite, I want to connect with. But this then comes all together in order to have then a successful event, in order to have this private experience of making contacts. And then whatever your reasons are at the moment, okay, I network a lot of, let's say, different people, but that's essentially what it is all about, to have the system. And then also a big challenge, especially for when we talk about meeting or dating as a frequent traveler, digital nomads, is then also having the system, like you said, at the one time, but on the other side also, being the social guy, going out there and actually do the work.
Yeah. And that's the thing a lot of guys struggle with. I think guys, because I mean, I'm happy to share this on this podcast. Like, I've actually helped coach a few guys completely informally. I don't consider myself a coach, a life coach in any way, but I've helped people in that space of, let's say, trying to help them. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
And the thing I noticed that guys, if you want a sort of generalization of problems, is that guys are too trapped in their own head. They're too logical. A lot of guys, if they're engineers, if they work alone in an office staring at a computer, let's say they do that 9 to 5, they are unable to break out of that. If they end up going into a social situation, they are unable to switch into a social mode. So that is a really important skill. Luckily, I'm naturally like that. I actually struggle in the opposite direction of just concentrating and getting my life. I've done it now, but when I was 18, I was not that sort of character. So yeah, that you're right. It's about systematizing. But then when you've organized your yoga event, Julian, you're not just going to stand in the corner with a beer to your chest. You're actually going to go and talk to people and be really social.
Exactly. And what would be like your tips for somebody who is like new to this and doesn't know how to build, let's say, relationships or meaningful connections while on this move? Is there any, let's say, specific tips you could say? Is it, just have to pause and go out and see what happens, or something else? What would you say?
Depends how bad of a case you are, because if you take someone who is really socially inept, someone that really has not, let's say you've had an upbringing where you really weren't a popular kid in school, you've ended up playing video games from the age of 9 to 29, you're now 30 years old, you haven't really got a lot of good reference experiences, go get help. You're not going to be able to do this on your own. And I'm not saying go to Julian, but I'm just saying go get help. You're not going to be able to do this on your own. Now, if you're someone like me, my problem was I was going too far in the party direction. All you need to do is you just need to put me in a bar and I was going to have a good time.
Yeah.
If you're somewhere in the middle, there are a few things I can help with. One is you need to break down the fundamentals of communication. And there are a few fundamentals. One of the fundamentals that Julian does better than almost anyone else I've ever seen is you just fucking smile. Do you know, honestly, how few people, when you're talking to them, just smile? I'm not even doing it now. I don't smile enough. I'm not good at this. If you look at Julian, and, we've been in lots of social situations together, leave it at that. You are very smiley, which is so good when you are communicating with people. And that's one of the fundamentals. The other fundamentals is standing up straight and having good body language. The other thing is being loud. If you are quiet, a lot of people take that as if you've got some sort of agenda. It's like, it's not creepy because they can't understand you. It's creepy because they're like, how does this guy not understand that I can't hear him? That just shows a lack of emotional intelligence. The other one is friendly physicality. A lot of guys, they get grabby. Let's say you're in a club in Colombia and they get grabby, or they put the hand on the lower back. No. Safe zones are here. Safe zones are hands and shoulders, no hand on the lower back. So that's really simple fundamentals. Smile, be loud, stand up straight, friendly physicality. There's a few more to go into, but those are the 4. Are you doing all those correctly? I guarantee you aren't. And one of the ways you can find out is you can grab a friend and you can say, hey, can you film me? Just on your iPhone, and go to, a medium club or medium well-lit club and ask him to film you as you go up and try say hi to strangers. I guarantee you're going to look like a serial killer. Don't do that. Smile, be cool. That's one of the first things I'd say. And then, so those are the fundamentals when you're communicating. And the second thing, there's no problem with drills. So one of the drills that I used to teach when I was teaching this stuff is called gaming the wall, which is for 2 minutes. You just stand in front of the wall, you put a timer on, and you're friendly. You talk to the wall as if you're meeting them at the bar, like, oh, hey, it's really nice to meet you. I'm Connor. Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt your night. I haven't spoken for 6 months. I actually took a promise to be mute for 6 months. So this is the first time I'm speaking. Anyway, I'm just mucking around. You seem really cool. Yeah. Anyway, just talk nonsense for 2 minutes, okay? That is going to transition you from sitting at your computer to at least flapping your mouth gums. So those are the two things I'd say, the fundamentals and gaming the wall.
Yeah, I think these points are super informative. I totally agree with it, especially what you have not watched, because many people, especially guys, they always want to actually know what to say. But the fundamentals you are talking about, it's not about what you say. It's like how you say it or how you behave. Like you're mentioning body language, the voice itself, smiling. So these are all like factors which are actually more important than what you actually say, because how you say it, it can affect so much different than what you say. You can say the shittiest things or the worst thing in a certain way that people just find it funny and would never be offended. But if you don't have no body language, if you don't have, no smiling, no nothing in your face, then, like you said, then it comes off like a creepy, needy, or whatever. Like people just don't want to interact with you. So I always say to a lot of people I'm working with, just don't be that logical guy like men are, obviously, but don't think what to say. Just try to do like on a positive energy, positive outcome, and then the words doesn't really that matter that much. So then you have like the confidence and then the energy to actually then, portray or say what you really feel, and not, okay, I need to have this line in my head. Oh, and then I need to say this, then I need to say that. No, that's completely wrong. And that's where a lot of guys then need the help with in order to come over this barrier, in not to worry about logically what to actually say.
I think this might really help with your audience. So this whole self-development, this goes back years. Okay, me and Julian are a bit older than you think on this camera. So I've
Oh
been doing
man,
this a long time. And I had a coach called, back in the day, there was this company called RSD. And there was this guy called RSD Aussie who I used to assist with and help. And he was a sort of self-development coach. And what Aussie would do is he'd take guys who really weren't socially calibrated or hadn't got a lot of social skills, and he'd take them to the loudest, scariest club he could find in the city. And Aussie used to have this Casio watch on his wrist, and he had a timer on his wrist. And he had this big grin, this kind of like grin that he was like going to do something terrible to you. And his whole concept was about using fear in order to improve your performance. So what he'd do is he'd put 2 minutes on his watch, and he'd point out the biggest, scariest looking guy in the club with his girlfriend. And they're maybe dancing or talking on the dance floor, maybe even they're kissing each other. And Aussie would say, I want you to go up, and for 2 minutes, I need you to engage them. How are you going to survive? So take a minute, people watching this, and you as well, Julian. How are you going to survive that? Well, I'll tell you the answer. The only way you're going to survive is all your fundamentals need to be amazing. You need to have a massive smile on your face. You need to have big, friendly physicality, like almost hug them on the shoulders. You need to stand up straight, and you need to be super loud. And you need to be like, hey, you guys are the cutest couple in the club. How do you guys know each other? I just arrived. And you do that for 2 minutes. If your fundamentals are not on point, you are going to drown. And what Aussie used to do is, if you came back after 1 minute and 20, he'd be like, go back. You had to last 2 minutes. And honestly, it was transformational for these guys. And I guarantee you, people watching this, those 4 fundamentals, I guarantee you they're not at the level they need to be. You're probably too quiet. You're probably not smiling enough. You're probably not standing up straight. And your physicality is probably off and cagey. It's not friendly. I guarantee you, people watching this, that's your problem.
Yeah, yeah. And definitely, and it really helps. Then you have like your best buddy, you have like a wingman who's really like supporting you on this mission. And then yeah, you have somebody watching you and then can give you the right feedback in order to see, okay, that what really happened. Then you can actually improve the points that you are lacking of, because most of the time you don't really realize it by yourself before somebody's telling you, or you're watching yourself on camera, or whatever. So I think it's really important to first of all to know that you have to work on it, and then if you work on it, to improve, make field reports, get some guys together in order to support each other. And that's also then the network you build, even on guys or of people that on the same level or on the same journey, on the same mission, in order to actually work on these specific points. I think that's very important. Yeah, well, I think we are slowly coming to an end here, but there's one question. Let's say if you would need to give one networking tip everyone should apply today or can apply today, something which is complete easily, what would it be?
Yeah, I think a lot of the advice we've done now is quite high level. So there is one thing, if you're watching this and you want to improve your networking, what I want you to do is switch your Instagram to a business account. When you have a business account, you can create a couple of tabs for your messages. You can have your general tab, and then you can transfer your messages into what's it called, a premium tab or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
What I want you to do is, and it's free to switch to a business account, by the way. What I want you to do is when you go out this weekend, or when you've built, a decent social media profile, I want you, for every single person you end up speaking to or you DM on Instagram, I want you to then switch them to the premium tab. If you do that for a month, you should really have 30 to 100 people that are now in a CRM system, which it takes you, I'd say, 30 seconds to set up. Don't worry about spreadsheets. Don't worry about CRM systems. The first thing to do, get an Instagram business account and then start building a list of people that you've met on nights out or people that you can message. That's like one trick that takes 30 seconds. And at the end of the month, if you land in Medellin and you go out every night for 2 weeks, you should have 50 people that you can reach out to invite to an event. One thing, super easy. If you don't do it, then what was the point in watching this whole podcast?
Yeah, at least they watch it until the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. No, thanks a lot. I mean, my basic tip, especially for beginner, what I always say, just take action now. Go down to the next coffee shop around the corner and just say hello to all the staff and ask for the names. That's like the quickest win you can actually do, and you can also do in 5 minutes, max 10 minutes. Maybe you get a coffee and that's it. That's like something quick wins. Like some people, they just need a quick win in order to keep going. And that's my advice, or let's say a special tip for anybody right now who says, okay, where to start? You can start right now. Just get out of your door, get up, take action. Just say hello to your favorite stuff in the coffee shop. That's all you need to do to get the roll bowling.
I mean, yeah, I know everyone in my coffee shop. So I've passed your first assignment, Julian. I'm so happy with myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know in London you can also like get some fish and chips on the way, right?
Very good. Very good.
So great. So yeah, Connor, to end the podcast, just where can people find you or learn more about you when they want to connect with you?
Yeah, I'm on all available channels, Connor_Vickery_ on Instagram. I'll have a YouTube channel, Connor Vickery up, and a TikTok channel, Connor Vickery. I'm on X, I'm on Twitter, whatever you want to call it. So all the good channels. And I mainly talk about events, fashion, and sort of London content. So yeah, check me out.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I will also link everything below in the description so that everybody will be well connected. And when
Well,
they come,
all right, when you're back in London, we have to go out, mate. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I will. I'm coming back to Europe in May, so we will definitely find the opportunity. London is not far away.
Can't wait, mate.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much. And yeah, everybody keep following, keep subscribing, and then yeah, we will build a great network around the globe of digital nomads, travelers, and we all will create meaningful connections and relationships while we are on the go.